24-hour game show marathon is back for another record-breaking year. Watch as game show fans recreate 24 of their favorite game shows, all to raise money for Child's Play. Child's Play delivers therapeutic games and technology directly to pediatric hospitals to improve patients' lives through the power of play. Watch the fun June 3rd, 2023, and donate now at GameShowMarathon.com.
All right, hello. Welcome to this live episode of the Crispy Noodle Podcast. Let us be the Crispy Noodle in your vegetarian salad of life and boring news. We're rocking and rolling. We're doing a special live edition of the podcast, post NFL draft coverage.
Oh, man.
We're rolling everything into one big ball of wax here.
Big ball of fun.
Yeah, that's right. We're doing our regular episode plus bonus post-draft coverage here on this week's episode. I'm Rich Liebig.
And I'm Michael Costanzo.
And we are here to give you the tasty morsels from sports, entertainment, and odd news from the past week. We're going to talk about it, have some fun in this hour-long podcast. Before we get into all the news at hand, Mikey, my friend, how are you doing? How was post-draft week?
It was good.
Area.
The area.
Yes.
The post-draft area was good. No, so obviously we got together for the draft, but other than that, I was able to finish up the Horizon Forbidden West Burning Shores downloadable content.
Oh, yes,
expansion.
you love that game, yes.
Yeah, so the base game was fantastic, and the DLC was also really, really good. They packed a lot into it. There was a handful of story missions, there were side missions, there were, open world collectibles in an entirely new map area of the world. That's about like a third of the size of the full game map, so a big chunk of space to play around in. There's new enemies, there's a fun new weapon, and even a new method of traversal that kind of changes things up a little bit. And I will say that this DLC is only available for the PlayStation 5 version of the game because they did some really creative things with this new traversal method, as well as some of the enemies that you fight that I don't think would have been possible on the PlayStation 4. The scope and the scale of things.
Yeah, take that, PC.
Yeah. No, it's really, really cool. It's a solid, just like the base game, it's like an 8.5 to a 9, depending on, how much you enjoy the base game. And I think everybody should go check it out. It's a nice little conclusion. It's required, I think, for the next step, like the game 3. I think it's really doing a lot to set that up and where things are going.
Yeah, this might be a la the Shadow Broker for Mass Effect.
Yeah, it definitely has a little bit of Shadow Broker type vibe to it. So if you're, want to keep up to date with the Horizon lore and just want some more awesome gameplay, go check it out. I had a blast with it. It's like a solid, I think I spent maybe 10-ish hours with it. So it's a nice little chunk of gameplay there.
Okay, so there you go. You can check that out.
But what have you been up to?
Yeah, I mean, it's been really weird weather here in Philly. I know I'm giving the weather report because it's been cold and rainy.
Yeah.
And I think I remember hearing that we hit a record low either today or yesterday.
What was it? Just a week ago we were in the 90s.
Right, yeah. 2 weeks ago we were sweating. Now we went completely the other direction.
I can't keep it straight. A week ago I was out in shorts and a t-shirt. Now today I'm I better pack my coat for after the podcast.
Yeah, this weather is literally do not close anything in your closet. Everything in your closet may become an option.
The whole 4 seasons of the wardrobe are still available during this time of year.
Yeah, this is the weather Pennsylvania is known for.
Yeah. What was it? Fall, summer, and then second winter. And
that weird chart. Yeah, we're up to third fall summer, I guess. I don't know.
Something like that.
Yeah. So that was a thing. Let's see. You know what? Rachel and I, we watched the Brooke Shields documentary on Hulu.
Okay.
That was an interesting little watch.
Interesting. I didn't know there was a documentary about.
Yeah, that was
Brooke Shields.
it brought light to the whole child actor, but also like she was like almost like a sex symbol. She was a sex symbol in the 80s.
Right.
And that's kind of weird because like, you're dancing on that line where
Yeah.
like she's technically a minor. Like, I don't
Right.
know if you can, it
little-
brought up some questions as
It's a little
to,
awkward, yeah.
yeah, like, was that justified? Was it just the era of the time, or is it still, like, it was a good, like, kind of
Yeah.
retroactive look at it.
That's kind of interesting. I like documentaries that, dive into that, like different parts of entertainment and sort of like the gray area
Right.
of entertainment.
And I feel like that was a good example of a gray area because
Yeah.
it was acceptable at the time, but now looking back on it, it's like, oh, yeah,
Now
she was.
Everyone's like, oh, whoops.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But, it's a good point to reflect on where we've been.
Right. Where we've been, where we're going, and how we got there. Yeah. No, that's interesting. That's on Hulu?
Yeah, it's on Hulu.
Okay.
And I think it was only like 2 hours. Like, it was just, they split it into like 2 parts so you can take a break.
Okay. So it's like digestible. You don't have to go through the whole thing at once.
Right.
Okay.
So,
Nice.
and also, like, it also went into, I totally forgot about the mini feud that she had with Tom Cruise. Do you remember that? That was like back in like 2003, back in simpler times.
In simpler times?
Yeah, Brooke Shields. She had she wanted to promote awareness of postpartum depression, and she was talking about how she went through it and recover, tried to deal with it and with medications and stuff like that. And Tom Cruise randomly, like, and he had that was like in the height of like the Scientology stuff. He was like, "Oh, she doesn't know the science then," and it was like, "Okay, you do.
Okay.
All right,
Yeah. Right.
Just because you are a part of Scientology doesn't make you the scientist."
Weird.
But it was Tom Cruise being Tom Cruise.
He's still weird though, isn't he?
I mean, I think he's toned it down.
But he's still into the whole Scientology thing.
Yes, but I don't think he's
he's not like the front man for it anymore.
Back in like the mid-aughts, he was
He's
like
really pushing it.
yeah, like he got the big medal. It almost looked like a championship belt. They gave him like a medal.
The Medal of Scientology.
Yeah, and like they made like an interview where he was talking to the tune of like Mission Impossible, but he's like, my mission is Scientology. Like, it was weird. He really went off a cliff, and then like I'm glad. I think somebody like pushed him. Like, it's just like, hey,
Like,
do you want to have a job? Like,
yeah,
stop
you got to
doing
tone
this
it down
stuff.
just a little bit.
Yeah, so it was good to have that retroactive look to see where we've been.
Sure.
Celebrity history is a very strange place indeed.
It's ever evolving.
Yes. All right. Well, how about we get to some news at hand? We want to talk about the draft, so why not? Let's launch into the first part of the show. It's the Sports Sampler.
So you're not good at sports. It's a very small part of life.
Sports. In your face. Ha ha!
That's right. Sports coming at you in your face here in this first part of the show. And let's launch right into it. Let's review the NFL draft. We did the live coverage the first night on Thursday night. And surprisingly, we did not get to do our milk chug.
No.
Because Will Levis was not drafted on Thursday night.
No, he wasn't. That was, I think, one of the big shockers. And personally, what I think is one of the, I have here in the rundown, the biggest losers. Not that Will Levis is a loser, but,
yeah, he's a loser. He's afraid of milk.
Well,
that's pretty bad.
No, I don't want to say that he's a loser, but like, it was definitely one of the more questionable moments of the draft, and also, a big kind of shock that he fell so far. I mean, he was projected to go top 10 and slid straight out of the first round altogether.
I think it was the milk.
You think it was the milk?
Honestly, I don't know how you can trust if this guy ever becomes a starting quarterback. I don't know how you can trust him. He's afraid of milk. Like, milk does not come out and attack you.
I mean that's a fair assessment of, maybe some teams had a concern about that. About, it just seems like such an easy thing to.
Can you imagine him coming into Philadelphia as an opposing quarterback? All of Philadelphia would grab milk and we would chug it like at the start of the first quarter.
It does seem like an easy sort of issue to like take advantage of. from
Yeah.
opponents, right?
I think so.
If it's as bad as they say
Tell
it
your
is.
defensive line, just chug some milk before you go out on the field. Have fun.
Right, exactly. But yeah, it's kind of a shame to see him fall that far. He was projected to go top 10 and just slid straight
Yeah.
on down. And I think, though, that I will retract my previous statement and say he is kind of a loser because he didn't even attend day 2 of the draft.
Right.
And I saw some, former players say, you got to at least attend day 2 because it shows. To me, I'm like,
Oh, you don't want me. I'm going to
how,
go home.
Like, how do you handle disappointment and loss as an NFL player if you can't even show up for day 2?
Yep. It looks bad.
And I'm not saying that he's going to, be, go on and be some horrible quarterback. I have no idea. What I'm saying, though, is it says something about his kind of mental
fortitude,
tenacity, right, to, like, stick with it. It reminds me very much of, like, I hate to go back to this, but like a Carson Wentz. You experience some little bit of adversity, and you're like, you just throw up your hands, and you go, oh, well,
yeah,
I can't,
Yeah, that's not somebody you can trust with your franchise with. You can't give a guy like that $100 million.
If I were the Titans, I would have wanted to see him come back, wanted to see him tough it out, show up with put on a brave face, a smile. Joey Porter had the same issue, the cornerback who was taken with the first pick in the second round by the Pittsburgh Steelers. He was upset. He was disappointed, but,
You come back the next night.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, I don't know. Does that make Will Levis a loser? Maybe not. Maybe. I don't know who is to say, but kind of a little disappointing to see that.
Yeah.
That he was upset and then left and then didn't come back.
Yeah. Good luck in Tennessee, because I feel like Tennessee is a whole bunch of mediocre quarterbacks between Ryan Tannehill and Malik Jackson and now Will Levis. You can't merge the three together and create a super quarterback.
No.
That's not how this works.
Teams have tried it before. It does not work.
No.
It does not work. You know what else is not working? The Detroit Lions and their draft strategy. That's another.
It worked out for us.
It worked out for us, definitely.
Worked out for the Eagles.
But they're another one of the big draft losers in my book. Some questionable picks, Rich.
Yeah, that pick.
I mean,
oof.
They had 2 picks in the top 20, and they go running back at 12.
Oof.
And not Bijan Robinson. Like, if Bijan Robinson goes 12, you're like, okay, you can. But, like, Jahmyr Gibbs.
Yeah, that's a rough call.
I mean, when we were covering it live, we were like, what?
Yeah, that seemed like a reach.
And then a few picks later at 18, they take a linebacker.
Yeah.
It's just, I don't know what, a running back?
The running back is a head scratcher. Because at least for Bijan, I think the argument is, he could be a once-in-a-lifetime running back.
Right.
He could be an all-around offensive weapon.
Right.
But this guy, he sounded like he was going to get picked at the tail end of round 1.
Yeah, I think he was projected near the end of round 1, and I mean, I think a super reach there. And then they have other needs, but they go linebacker instead of like defensive line.
See, the problem with the draft isn't just picking the right players. It's also where are you picking them in the draft.
Right.
This was the issue with Daniel Jones.
Right.
Daniel Jones should not have been a top 5 overall pick.
Right. He's a fine pick for like late first, early second, but not top 5, top 10. Yeah.
Yeah. So so placement of where you pick matters.
Yeah.
If the Lions were really going to go for the second best running back on the board, they should have traded down.
They could have waited. I mean, they had 18. They could have waited until 18. It would have been a little bit more, tolerable there, but even still. So the Lions, I think, another big loser of draft day. Do you have any other big losers? Or
I'm still going to be critical of Atlanta. I know Bijan could be. I know people are saying he could be the once in a generation running back of this upcoming era, but still, Atlanta I feel like they don't have consistent pieces. They have the flashy pieces.
Right.
They've got the tight end, but they've got the running back. But other than that,
they don't have the core. They don't have they don't have any like phenomenal offensive line to speak of. They don't. I mean, who's their starting quarterback? I don't even. You said it was like some random guy like
Desmond Ritter.
Ritter. I was gonna say Riddick.
Yeah, Riddick. No, Desmond Ritter. And also too, I was seeing this come up. Oh, but the Atlanta Falcons have the best one of the best running games in the league. No, they have a high running yard total from last year because they literally called, I think, 2/3 of their offensive plays to be run plays.
Yeah, so you can rack up yards, but how effective are those yards?
Yeah.
Because clearly not that effective because they were 4th in their division, one of the worst divisions in football.
Yeah.
But, back to your point, everybody who watched the draft live show knows that I was pretty high on Bijan Robinson, but not at 8 and not for a team like Atlanta. So my whole argument was like, if you're a team like the Eagles who have basically, for all intents and purposes, a pretty full roster, you can take a weapon type player. But when you need the foundational pieces, you can't spend top 10 draft capital on a skill position. You need quarterbacks. You need offensive line. You need defensive line. You need foundational pieces. And running back is not a foundational piece.
No.
A running back is a nice to have.
It's a flashy pick.
If you have everything else, sure, go get the running back. But I don't know, man.
Yep, it's a flashy pick.
I do understand Atlanta's like, okay, we're not going to get one of the top 2 quarterbacks, so they're kind of stuck, at 8 overall. Like, what do? You missed out on all your quarterbacks.
Didn't get the top 3. Didn't get Anthony Richardson.
Yeah. So I guess they're like, best player available.
Yeah.
But I think there needs to be an asterisk on best player available. It's like for your team.
Yeah.
Don't take the best just random guy on the board because that doesn't always make sense.
No.
Because say for some reason you have a starting quarterback, right? And the best player available is a quarterback. You're not going to take another quarterback unless you're the Eagles in 2020
or Green Bay.
Or Green Bay. But other than that, yeah, Atlanta, another big draft loser. Do we want to talk about some of the winners though?
Yeah, let's get to the winners.
So right off the bat, I think I mentioned it on draft day, but the Houston Texans, I mean, yes, selling the future a little bit, but super aggressive. I love the aggressiveness. Get the 2nd overall pick, come right back, trade all the way up to number 3.
Yeah.
Back-to-back picks, arguably the best offensive player and arguably the best defensive player in the draft.
Yeah, that was impressive.
At 2 and 3. I absolutely floored. I was like, wow, that is a gutsy call.
Yep, that was they got their franchise quarterback, and then they helped out D'Amico Ryans by getting the best defensive player. Yeah, I don't think you could have asked for anything better for the Houston Texans to at least start their rebuild and hopefully start trending in the right direction.
Yeah, I just hope that it works out for them because, these teams that kind of sell the future for these big moves, I mean, it's make it or break it,
Yeah.
But we'll see. Right now, though, I think they're a draft winner. That was a really gutsy, aggressive call. I like it. Getting 2 of the top 3 players, I mean, that's crazy stuff. But another really solid draft, I think, was the Seattle Seahawks. They had 2 picks in the top 20. They got, I believe, one of the top corners in the draft and one of the top wide receivers, 2 areas that they need some help with. So, I think that was a really solid draft from them as well. Actually, now that I'm looking at it, they made a lot of picks in the top 50. They had 4 picks in the top 50.
Yep.
Like, that's a really
and
solid.
And they were a playoff team.
Yeah.
So you're talking about a playoff team getting more top talent.
Yeah. It's incredible. They're going to be a force to be reckoned with out there in the West. Which,
sorry, Denver.
Yeah.
I mean, boy, you got to think about this too.
Most of those picks were from Denver. Now that I'm looking at it, the 5th overall.
Yeah.
The 6th pick in the 2nd.
That Russell Wilson trade completely flipped the script on Seattle Seahawks because now, instead of them being an aging team that was hanging on to their Super Bowl run with Legion of Boom, now they're completely the opposite. Now they're a young team. They got Geno Smith. They've got weapons. Yeah, Seahawks, they are turning the page here.
Yeah, all of a sudden, you're absolutely right. I'm looking at it right now. Yeah, 4 picks in the top 52 players. I mean, that's incredible maneuvering to get a haul like that. But I think, enough beating around the bush.
Yeah, let's get to Eagles. Yeah.
Who the biggest winner of the draft? I mean, NFL GMs everywhere must be saying about Howie, he can't keep getting away with this. Because it's like highway robbery. Like, I love it as an Eagles fan, but we were watching it and I'm like, I cannot believe what's happening. 2 drafts in a row where we just absolutely steal big player after big player, make trades, make moves. And you mentioned it earlier. You talked about where people are drafted compared to their projected value. right?
Yep.
The Eagles knocked it out of the park. Almost every single player we drafted was a steal, and sometimes by magnitudes. So the first pick, number 9 overall, defensive tackle Jalen Carter out of Georgia. We talked about on draft night. I was a little worried about the pick. There was a lot of off-the-field issues. I'm still concerned about that. There were a lot of people raised questions about his commitment, his desire to play football. You never like to hear that out of a top 10 pick. But after thinking about it and reading up on it and watching stuff on it, I think that out of all the teams, this could have been like the best case scenario. He's going to a team that's known for defense, has a lot of his former teammates, complete change of scenery from Georgia, a lot of veterans, a great veteran presence on defense to coach him up and hold him accountable. And just a really solid locker room and organizational philosophy and leadership. If there's a place where he can succeed, it's in Philadelphia. Can he succeed? We'll see. But he was projected to go top 3 and then slid because of the off-the-field issues, and we got him at 9.
Yeah.
That's a huge steal.
Yeah, I think this was the perfect situation for Jalen Carter to land and the perfect situation for the Eagles to land at 9.
Yeah, but, if people were excited about Jalen Carter, I lost my mind at the other first-round pick we had, because even though we were in the Super Bowl, we had 2 first-round picks. At 30 overall, we took linebacker/defensive end Nolan Smith from Georgia, and I just don't understand this, because everything that I saw said the Eagles were thinking about taking him at 10. He was projected to go. He was projected to go 10 to 15, and they got him at 30.
Yeah.
What are teams thinking?
Yeah,
people are making the joke that Dallas took the wrong Smith.
Yeah. But I think a lot of it was the size issue. But that's not necessarily a kryptonite.
That's not a huge knock in today's NFL. People are like, oh, size. But then remember players like Deshaun Jackson and like Darren Sproles and Hassan Reddick. All these guys were small, undersized.
Sometimes it's better. You get through the line of scrimmage quicker.
Yeah.
You plug up the hole quicker.
It is like the same exact argument. Devontae Smith. Yeah. That was the knock on him. I just realized he had 95 receptions last year. He's already like in the top 5 of Eagles receiving all time. And he's undersized. He's like a twig. Sometimes it works. His athleticism and flexibility, Nolan Smith, is just off the charts. He can play outside linebacker. He can play defensive end. He's so fast compares to Hassan Reddick. I'm really excited to see where, he fits into everything. But the draft just kept getting better. We got some good depth at offensive line with Tyler Sheen out of Alabama. In the 3rd round, we got safety Sidney Brown. People are saying that he could be a bit of a steal, could compete for a starting role. He needs to work on his tackling, but like our safeties haven't really been able to tackle since Brian Dawkins. So it's par for the course. But this is the one that my draw dropped again. Round 4. 105th pick, cornerback Keely Ringo out of Georgia, and that's where the meme really comes into play. 5 Georgia players in 2 years.
Why not? They won this. They won the national championship
2 years in a row, right?
Like, why not?
Yeah,
they have a track record of winning.
Just draft the whole defense, and Howie's taking it seriously. But I don't understand that this Keely Ringo. He was projected to go in the top 40. And I know that the knock against him is that, he has like good raw athleticism, but they don't think that he can transition to playing outside corner in the NFL. But I feel like with the raw athleticism, if he's coached up properly, you got to take a chance on a top 40 talent that falls all the way to the 4th round.
Yeah. And if he's not that good, try him at safety.
Try him at nickel. I mean, there's a lot of teams are running 3 safety sets now to combat, 3 and 4 wide receiver sets. I feel like there's a place for him on this team somewhere.
Yeah.
But I think the other big move we got to talk about, we also drafted a quarterback in the 6th and a defensive tackle in the 7th. But obviously the big other headline is just 2 years in a row, just stealing players. We traded with the Detroit Lions. We swapped 7th round picks, and we sent a 4th round pick in 2025 for running back DeAndre Swift.
Yep. And that's,
what in the world is Detroit doing?
Well, we got to explain that part, because I love the fact that it's the 2025 4th round pick.
Yeah.
because basically this is going to end up being a free.
It's a 1-year rental.
It's a 1-year rental just for free at this rate, because if DeAndre Swift, he's in the last year of his contract.
Right.
If he leaves Philadelphia after 2023, the Eagles are going to get a compensation pick for him.
Right.
And it's probably going to be
like 4th or 5th round.
Probably in that 5th round area. So at worst, they probably just trade it down a little bit. That's it. And they're going to get a starting running back out of it.
Unreal.
Yeah.
I
Like
don't
understand.
know what
the Lions just, they were so enamored with their pick that they thought DeAndre Swift was the odd man out.
Yeah, because that was the problem in Detroit.
Yeah. Good luck.
Just unreal. 2 first-round picks, a new starting running back, solid depth at offensive line and defensive line, and potential future starters at safety and corner. I mean, everybody kind of agrees that the Eagles just knocked it out of the park with this draft.
Yeah. And right now, I mean, especially in this era where all the quarterbacks have left for the AFC, I mean, the Eagles look good right now in this NFC. It's a weak conference.
Do I dare to dream, Rich?
I mean, as long as the Eagles stay healthy and productive, I don't know. This is looking pretty good.
We're going to run it back?
The only competition I can see is the 49ers, but they don't have a quarterback.
Right.
And maybe the Seahawks, but they might be a little too young. I think they might hit their peak like next. I think they're going to be like the shocker this year. I think they might come out and win, contend with the 49ers and possibly win that division. And people are like, whoa, where'd they come from? But then it's going to be like the following year that they could be at their zenith.
The NFC South, they're all rebuilding.
Yeah.
The NFC North, I mean, Green Bay is about to fall on their face. The Detroit Lions are up and coming. The Bears were a little aggressive in the draft, but we still don't really know what they are. And it's the Vikings. It's Kirk Cousins. We don't got to worry about him in prime time.
Just don't play in pressure games.
Right. So it really just comes down to those NFC West teams. It's the Seahawks and the 49ers and our own division with Dallas. But I think if we can handle, and we've proven that we can handle those teams. So, and I think we got better on paper.
Yeah.
Like, yes, we lost Gardner Johnson, but we brought in huge value players in the draft, and we signed some, consistent starters via free agency. But, like, on defense, how we took that Super Bowl loss personally.
Yeah.
He's like,
yes, he did.
You're going to gash us on offense, and you're going to run up the gut. We're going to bring in huge defensive linemen. We're going to retool the defense. We're going to get faster. We're going to get smarter. We're going to get bigger all across the board. I mean, he took it personally, and you love to see the aggressiveness.
Yep.
I'm excited.
I am as well. I mean, look, out of all of the Philadelphia teams right now, I think the Eagles are probably at the height of optimism right now.
Yeah, as usual, they're the only hope we got.
Yeah, because coming into tonight's live show, the Phillies gave up a walk-off grand slam for a loss, and as of right now, the Sixers are losing game 2, so that might be time.
Walk-off grand slam. Like,
that's ugly.
What even is that? How do you let that happen at the professional level?
It happens. Yeah, your base is loaded, and then the next guy comes up, you're a little shaky, and you leave a meatball out there.
God.
Yeah.
What an embarrassing way to end a game.
Yeah, not a good Wednesday for Philadelphia sports.
No.
But there are some positives. So how about we get to that in our crazy little segment that we like to call the 3-minute drill.
Yeah.
You ready, Mike?
Let's do it.
All right. There you go. The time is on. 3 minutes. Go.
All right. Well, we got all the non-football news in the 3-minute drill because the Sports Sampler was basically all football. And to kick things off, like Rich said, a lot of positive news. Finally, 76ers star Joel Embiid wins MVP after being snubbed years.
Yeah.
Right? I mean, that was always the thing. People are like, when's he going to win it? When's he going to win it?
Yeah.
Well, he did right here, right now.
Finally.
So, I mean, what do you think? What's your reaction to this?
Oh,
it's
no,
about time,
It's
right?
about time. And unfortunately, it seems like it didn't help tonight at game 2. But if the Sixers, ever need to trade Embiid, at least they can say he's MVP recently.
Do you think that could happen?
Look, I mean, if the Sixers go out in another second-round exit,
It's brutal.
Something's got to change. I don't know if it's a full rebuild, but there needs to be a shakeup.
Are they gonna gut him and trust the process again?
Maybe, but right now, the Sixers, if the line stops again in the second round, there's got to be a shakeup.
They got to get their heads on straight. This will be, what, the third year in a row or something where they went out in the
Yeah, it's like third or fourth. Yeah, it's crazy.
This reminds me of the early 2000s Philadelphia Eagles. Just every NFC championship game, except they're not even making it that far.
Yeah.
That's even more pathetic.
Yeah.
God.
It's like they keep losing a divisional round.
Oof. Kill me now. But more positive news.
Yeah, more positive news.
The Philadelphia Phillies star slugger Bryce Harper has returned very early from an injury that was originally supposed to sideline him until the All-Star break in July. This is pretty significant news for the Phillies. They're getting him back like 2 months early?
Just about, yeah.
You said as a designated hitter, though, right?
Yeah.
Not like full-time back.
Yeah, so actually the new rule changes helped the Phillies because if this was a couple years ago, there would be no designated hitter. So he would have had to have fielded, and I don't think he would have been rushed back. But because we have the designated hitter now in the National League, yeah, all you got to worry about is him swinging the bat and running the base. That's it.
Hey, man, that's a really good situation for the Phillies there because you said that's what he's known for. And you don't want to rush him back from injury if he has to field or he's running and jumping and crashing into walls. And,
yeah,
that's a lot of wear and tear on the body. If all he has to do is hit home runs, I think he can do that.
Yeah, just focus on the bat,
Yeah.
And even when he gets on base, you could, if you're really worried, you can have a substitute runner.
Yeah. So, good news for the Phillies. Do you think it'll? I mean, this is great getting him back this early in the season.
Yeah, I think it's just going to be good to just get him back into the swing of things, literally. But yeah, just get him game ready again and get him into the motion and
maybe we see him come back full time, when he was originally supposed to come back.
Yeah, and also help to fight off those nasty Braves and Mets and anybody else in that division that can't do anything. So there you go. Did you like how I finished that?
I like that. With a Philadelphia scream of rage.
Yeah. So, we'll see how the return of Bryce Harper does. I think it will help. But
I think so. It can't hurt.
No.
I think,
Unless Bryce Harper gets hurt again.
Well, why do you put that into the universe?
I have to address all possibilities.
We are Philadelphia based, so it's our natural
yeah,
baseline is pessimistic,
right,
at best.
Expect the worst case scenario,
Right.
But you know what? For right now, I think that will that will deal with the worst case scenario for right now, and that is the fact that we got to take a little bit of a break because we've been talking for 30 minutes straight. So we're gonna take a quick break to recover and get our refill our waters and prepare for the entertainment entree and then the non-fortune cookie odd news. So we still got more podcasts coming your way. We'll finally leave the realm of the draft. If you're not interested in sports, we'll finally get to other topics. So don't go anywhere. We'll be right back. This is the Crispy Noodle Podcast.
The 24-hour Game Show Marathon is back for another record-breaking year. Watch as Game Show fans recreate 24 of their favorite game shows, all to raise money for Child's Play. Child's Play delivers therapeutic games and technology directly to pediatric hospitals to improve patients' lives through the power of play. Watch the fun June 3rd, 2023, and donate now at GameShowMarathon.com.
Ready for the weekend? Happy Friday. Hi, my name's Marie, and I'm an artist who's been making Happy Friday doodles every week for over 7 years. And now you can own my art collection in this Volume 1 and Volume 2 art series. These doodles span across multiple themes, yearly festivities, various countries, languages, and more. Both coffee table books have something for everyone and are the perfect conversation starter or gift for a friend. Really, anyone who enjoys a good weekend. Available on Amazon, Ingram, BookBaby,
Barnes & Noble,
and more. Visit happyfridaydoodles.com/books and get your copies today. Let's celebrate the best day of the week. Happy Friday.
we're back here on the Crispy Noodle Podcast. Yo, you want a podcast? You guys see the guy I see?
What?
I don't know. I felt like I had a little...
You want to do an
I
accent?
felt like I had a little mobster accent there. You want
Okay.
you want a podcast? You come see the guy I know.
Oh, I got a podcast guy for you.
Yeah, I got a podcast guy for you.
You know what's doing it is the music. I know it's not the theme song for Barry. It's not just that, but it's what is used as the theme song for Barry.
Yeah.
And that show's in its final season right now. If you haven't seen it, go check it out.
Yeah. The last episode was crazy.
Oh, no spoilers. I haven't
Yeah.
actually caught up on
I'll
it
just
yet.
I'll just say that the last
Yeah.
episode was crazy.
Jordan is catching up on it because I forced her. I was like, you got to watch the show. It's so good. And we've been plowing through the first 3 seasons.
No, well, that's a good thing about Barry because they're 30-minute episodes. Yeah,
Yeah.
you can really catch up real quick.
Oh, yeah.
But yeah, you know, I think I've said this a couple times. Just all my shows are ending. Barry's ending. Succession's ending. Mayans is going to be ending. They just announced the final date for that. That ends in the summer. All my shows are ending. What is this?
Better Call Saul ended last year.
Better Call Saul ended.
But you know
all
what?
my shows.
It makes room for new prestige dramas.
Does it though?
It does. Everybody, I keep hearing this. This is going to be a little side tangent right here. I keep hearing like this is the death of prestige drama on TV. What? Since when? Since when? Like, remember when Mad Men and Breaking Bad ended at the same time? Nobody was like, it's the end of prestige drama. We got Succession and we got Barry out of it.
It was the end of AMC.
It was the end of AMC.
Yeah.
But there's always, the point that I'm making is that, you know, before Breaking Bad, there was The Sopranos, then Sopranos and The Wire, and like, oh, what are we going to do? There's no more good TV. And then it's Breaking Bad and Mad Men. And then it's Succession and Barry and Better Call Saul. There's always something that takes its place. That's the great thing about entertainment like that. It goes in cycles, right? This is the end of an era, but it's the beginning of a new one, maybe.
Possibly.
Last of Us?
Well, that's another one too. That's going to be a finite show. That's only going to be
We still
another
got
couple seasons.
At least 2 more.
Yeah,
At least.
at least.
Until they come out with the 3rd game to make everybody else angrier. Because you know it's going to happen.
Yeah.
Anyway.
Perfect
We'll get
timing.
to that in like 2026.
Yeah, we'll see you then.
Stay tuned.
We'll see you then in 2026. But there you go. Quick little state of the TV, which is appropriate for this segment where we do review TV and movies and stuff like that in the entertainment entree.
And now, the latest in movies.
The Simpson guy writes to movies. Dear Die Hard, you rock. Especially when that guy was on the roof.
Music.
I know what that is. That's music.
Video games.
I'm Commander Shepard, and this is my favorite store on the Citadel.
Celebrities.
You really know Warren Beatty? Yes, I do. I took a leak next to him once at the Golden Globes.
And more.
You're the all-singing, all-dancing crap of the world.
This is the entertainment entree.
There you go. Officially now in the entertainment entree. So now we can officially talk TV and movies and stuff like that. But we usually like to kick this part of the show off with a special segment where Mike is going to let you know what you should keep an eye out for this upcoming weekend with new movies, new TV, and new video games in Mike's This Week in Entertainment. All right, Mikey, what you got for the people?
Well, this week in entertainment, the big movie release, of course, is Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3, hitting theaters this week. This is the end of the Guardians trilogy as we know it. Director James Gunn confirms that this is the end of this version of the Guardians of the Galaxy. That doesn't mean we won't see another version, maybe new members, different members, at a later time. I feel like the wording is intended to leave it, open-ended. But from what I've seen of the trailers and the critics and what they're saying, everything is suggesting it's going to be an emotional ride and a very poignant ending, potentially. I think people are going to die.
Yeah, well, I mean, we already know there are guys not coming back.
Dave Bautista's not coming back.
Gamora, who plays whoever plays
Zoe Saldana, I think.
Yes,
she's
correct.
She's not coming. Yeah. So, and the trailers just seem super sad, right?
Yeah. So there's going to be some deaths or some sort of way that these characters aren't coming back.
Yeah, and I feel like that's fitting for the Guardians and their journey, right? They all started out as like a band of, devious misfits, and they came together, they found brotherhood, and, they became actual heroes instead of space scoundrels, and now they can go their way, in peace and comfort and be like, hey, the journey changed me. We're better because of it, kind of thing. Just let it die, Marvel.
Hopefully.
Just
I don't know.
let it die.
Yeah, I don't know. They might still find a way.
This movie has to, for me, it has to be a really good one because Ant-Man Quantumania just didn't do it for me for the start of Phase 5.
Uh-oh.
So, yeah, we'll see.
All right. So that's this weekend.
Yeah, but in television, Silo is a new Apple TV Plus sci-fi drama, and that is weirdly quickly becoming their forte with shows like Severance and Silo and Mankind, where it's like the alternate history of like the Soviet Union made it to the moon or whatever first. They have a lot of sci-fi dramas, but this one looks really good. It's about a post-apocalyptic Earth in which there are only 10,000 survivors on the entire planet, and they all live in a massive silo a mile beneath the Earth's surface, but no one alive remembers life before moving underground. They don't know who built the silo or why, where it came from. So it's like a post-apocalyptic sci-fi drama mystery. And it struck a chord with reviewers. It currently has an 84 on Metacritic. So if you have Apple TV Plus, go check it out. And I've always said this, Apple TV Plus's fault is not the content. It is fantastic. It's in the marketing, which is weird because Apple's known for their marketing with the logo and the nonsense, as I furiously point to my computer. But yeah, like if you have Apple TV Plus, you got to check out these shows. They're really, really good. I'm always talking about Ted Lasso and Severance and Silo and Central Park, Mystic Quest, some of my favorite TV shows
there you
now.
go.
But nobody knows about them.
No.
Go watch the damn shows.
I don't know them either. They're on Apple.
God damn it, go watch it, Rich.
Sorry.
Anyway, finally, in video games, a new month equals new free games for PlayStation Plus and Xbox Live Gold subscribers. But the big news, of course, for all of you still gaming on the previous generation of consoles, Hogwarts Legacy finally comes to PlayStation 4 and Xbox One. So if you haven't had a chance to dive in, you're still waiting on PlayStation 4 and Xbox One, go do it now. It's a fantastic game. I mean, beautiful open world, so rich and full of life, and really, really amazing stuff.
Also on PC as well, so there's really no excuse now after this weekend.
No excuse. So go check it out. That's Hogwarts Legacy, coming to previous generation consoles and PC this week. And that's what we're looking forward to this week in entertainment.
All right, so there you go. Thank you, Mike. Thank you for letting us know what we should keep an eye out for this upcoming weekend. All right, how about, you know what? I know I'm going a little bit out of order on our prepared sheet, but I want to talk.
Shuffling.
Yeah, I want to talk video games since we ended on video games.
Yeah.
Because EA pulled a nasty maneuver with the new Star Wars Jedi Survivor game, and it is causing chaos all over the video game landscape. It's getting review bombed for this one reason. And basically it's because only, how do we estimate this? A third of the game is actually on physical disc.
Yeah, so here's the real issue with Star Wars Jedi Survivor. Obviously, highly anticipated game, sequel to Jedi Fallen Order. People are really excited to play it. It's positioned and marketed and presented as a complete single-player narrative action adventure.
Yeah, no multiplayer. No.
Right? Like, that's a fair assessment.
Correct.
No microtransactions, no season pass, no multiplayer, right? So, in the world of video games, for video gamers, we all understand and translate that to mean I can buy a disc and put it in my console and play the game. No.
Not with this.
Because only about a third of the game is on the disc. You have to download the other roughly 2/3 of the game, which means that this single-player narrative game does actually require internet access and does require you to be online to play the game until you finish downloading the other 100 gigabytes of game data. Now, you might be saying, okay, I got good internet. Why does that matter? What about the people?
Yeah, good for you, Jack.
Good for you, Jack. But let's put it this way. There's so many games.
Oh, good for you.
Good for
there you go.
Really good for you. But let's put it this way.
Christian Bale doesn't like you now.
No,
How dare you have
Christian
good
Bale
internet.
hates EA.
Oh, good for you.
So there you go. Yeah, if you happen to have fast internet, good for you. But there are places that don't have good internet.
There's
Alaska,
places, they don't have
Alabama.
They don't have good internet, or they have spotty internet, or there's their bandwidth is limited. In a lot of places, they throttle bandwidth. Some places have data caps, and 100 gigabytes, in one afternoon for one game. That crushes your data. We're lucky living in the Philadelphia area that it's a very competitive market with all the options we have.
With two options.
With two major options. But they're the two biggest options, so we're
Luckily.
lucky. We're lucky, but there's other places where it's like you get cable company, internet company A, and you're going to like it. And they're going to cap your data, they're going to throttle your bandwidth, and it's going to be spotty. And I just feel bad for those players. And that's just here. I mean, we're not even talking about overseas and places where internet might, be as reliable. To get a game that they thought, I'm buying the physical copy because it has the whole game. It's content complete. And that's just not the case.
Nope.
And that's not the way it was presented to gamers. EA and Respawn didn't mention this. And they're not the first game to pull this, but it marks
This is the first major release.
Right. It's a growing and worrying trend in video games where even the physical copy is not the whole game. So what does this mean for, sharing physical copies or reselling physical copies? What about just game preservation? What happens if EA and Respawn, they're we're shutting down the servers. We're not going to
what happens to the game
provide
then?
access to the download. It's 2035 and you're sorry, we're not going to maintain that server that has the download on it.
Yeah, that's right.
So for preservation, for access, for a plethora of reasons, it's a really troubling trend and really upsetting.
Yeah, and it just again just another way that I think the common video gamer has been lied to.
Yeah.
It's very concerning, and also EA is such a major studio. If they're able to get away with this, then all the other major studios are going to try and pull stunts like this.
Yeah, it's all about the trendsetters, right? And if they are hey, we can do it, then what's to stop, Sony and Microsoft and Ubisoft and everybody from following suit?
I really hate to say this because I think maybe we're old, but we are fans of physical media.
Yeah.
This is them trying to shuffle everyone to do digital downloads.
Yeah.
They want you to do digital downloads, buy games multiple times.
Yep.
It's so much easier for them on their end to collect profits.
Yeah.
You can
you get to double and triple dip because you have to have the online subscription to access everything.
Yep.
Then you buy the game digitally, and then you get the DLC, and then it gets remastered, and then and then there's the Game of the Year edition and pre-orders, and everything is just
give us your money.
Various paywalls.
Give us your money.
I declare bankruptcy!
Yes, because these games are $70, and so I'm one of the people that got the physical version of Jedi Survivor because I had a gift card to a brick and mortar store, so I was like, I'm just going to go buy the disc, right?
Yeah.
Otherwise, I do, unfortunately, buy a lot of digital games because they usually have really good deals, and it's just readily available. But you're right, I do prefer the physical media because it means that I can, hand a disc to you and be like, go play this game.
Yeah.
How many times have we done that in the past? It's
going to go... It's going to be extinct.
It's going to be extinct.
They're chipping away at that way of enjoying games. They want their profit from every single player that plays the game.
Yeah. It's just really disappointing. And,
well,
I don't think it's going to change anytime soon.
And you also brought up another point, too. We were talking about this. Does this mean that if you give me your disc, I can't play the game because you already downloaded the 2/3 of the game from your end on your PlayStation?
Well, I'll tell you what, we'll do an experiment. When I finish the game, I'll let you borrow it if you haven't purchased and played it by then. We'll see.
Yeah, I bet you somebody's going to be on this week.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah,
we'll
I
find out.
haven't seen whether or not it's you're able to do that, but you have to wonder at some point EA or one of these big companies is going to be like, you know what? This is like, I mean, PC games. It's like a digital. It's a key, right? It's a product key.
Yeah.
Like Microsoft Office.
Yeah.
Back in the day, you download it, and they're like, you got your copy. You're done. That disc
That's
doesn't
it.
work anymore.
Yep. Sorry, you got to
Yeah.
upgrade or buy another copy or something. Yeah.
It's only a matter of time. I don't want to sound like I'm the old crotchety guy, but like this is kind of. It's not that it's illegal or anything. It's just really,
It should be.
It's really anti-consumer.
It's very deceptive.
It's very deceptive, and it's so anti-consumer. Like it's really upsetting.
And it's and also like it feels like it doesn't make sense. Like I feel like if I have a physical copy, that should be the end of transaction.
Right.
you know? But it's not. The EA's coming. Leave it to EA. They came up with a way to screw us over on the physical media.
It just bugs me that they're like, it's a narrative single-player experience.
This should not require anything else.
Here's the physical copy of this narrative single-player experience. Not once did they say, by the way, you got to download like 105 gigabytes over your crappy, unstable Arkansas internet.
Yeah.
You know?
Which, also, that's...
I feel bad. I feel bad for those players. Like, we're super lucky.
Also, by the way, this is now an example of how a terabyte is now meaningless.
I got the game on the back of the box as 155 gigabytes.
The total game is 100. So that's already
155. Yeah.
So that's
without patches, without downloadable content, without any of that.
So
extra
that's already what 20% of a terabyte.
Yeah, and you know
Dear
the whole drive isn't usable anyway. You're looking at more like 800 gigabytes, 850.
Dear God. What's next? What comes after terabyte? Petabyte?
Petabyte, yeah.
Oh my God. We're gonna live to see that petabyte.
Well, I'll put it this way: if you have, I think one of the Call of Duty games is like over 200 gigabytes. If you have Call of Duty and Star Wars Jedi Survivor, you're almost at 500 gigabytes.
That's it.
That's it. Like you're done.
Dear God, man, and I have like a couple games on my PC. There's still like 5 megabytes.
Dude, like the original like PC games used to come on CDs, and CDs top out at 700 megabytes.
Yeah.
Like Roller Coaster Tycoon, I think was like 12 kilobytes or something. Like some games are just used to be on floppy disks.
Yeah.
Now we sound really old.
Yeah.
The Oregon Trail.
Yeah, that was a game.
4 megabytes, you know.
God. Yeah, we do sound old.
All right, we got to stop sounding so old. We got to talk about new stuff that's happening now.
Yeah, let's jump to new stuff.
Let's jump to new stuff. You know, kind of still in the realm of video games. We got to talk trailer talk here. Sony's Gran Turismo trailer.
Oh my gosh.
Came out.
Oh boy, we're really
this week.
jumping the quality scale here.
But like, why though?
Well, yeah, you mentioned I had to go see this trailer.
It's weird, right? I'm not the only person that thinks it's weird.
Yeah, so if you haven't seen the Gran Turismo trailer, I'd recommend you pause the podcast and go take a look at it.
Yeah, just real quick. It goes by fast.
Right. But oh my gosh. It seems like it's a commercial for the video game, but then in the movie
it's so stupid you can't even say it.
In the movie, they reference the fact that the video game does exist, and like the whole video game exists,
right?
Because like there's even a clear shot of whoever the main character is. He plays all the Gran Turismo games, and they have like a clear shot of all the ones that he has, like from 1 to 4 or something.
It's so cringy. Multiple times during the trailer, they're like, "Oh, all you do is play your video games," and he's sitting there with his like little racing wheel, and it shows all the disc boxes, physical media. Remember?
Yeah, remember physical media.
They're not gonna be able to have that shot in a decade.
Yeah,
but it has all the game boxes. It shows him playing the game, and there's so many like. It's so weird because there's the premise of the movie is there's a contest where they take all these gamers, the best
Gran Turismo players,
and
the ones that are ranked and are the best in the world.
They have them compete to try to race an actual car.
Yes,
because racing in the video game that gives you the experience and the ability to race a real car.
Yeah,
and that's the premise of the film. They're taking these gamers, and like so many times in the trailer, you're gonna take these. Weak little these nerds.
And it's basically Revenge of the Nerds again. Nerds.
David Harbour's character, he goes, if you miss a line in the game, you restart. If you miss a line in real life, you die.
Yeah.
What?
Yeah. I mean, all right. So maybe it shouldn't have been that absolute, but you know,
like it was
trying to establish that they're in the real world. So.
Right. The stakes are more than the game.
Yeah.
No kidding.
But it was very. Yeah. It should have been a little more carefully worded.
It is.
You die.
It is hammy, isn't it?
A little bit. Yeah. It's a little too hammy.
So I don't know. We'll see. Why didn't they just make a racing movie? Why did it have to be like this weird?
Well, see, this is what we were talking about. I don't think we've ever seen. I don't know. Maybe I'm just forgetting, but I don't think we've seen a video game adaptation where they self-referenced their own game.
Not that I know of.
I don't think so.
It'd be like if there, Mortal Kombat. The best players in Mortal Kombat get selected to fight.
Actually, to the death
in a Karate Kid-esque battle royale. Like, it doesn't make any sense. And they're like, in the game, you can hit up, start A, and do a finisher, but this is real life.
You just get a claw to the face.
Yeah, I don't understand what.
You just get turned into ice.
It's so weird. It felt like, remember how Sony does all those like live action ads for their games? That's what it felt like. It felt like a live action ad for Gran Turismo.
Yeah, and there was a lot of Sony ad
Nissan, Sony, Gran Turismo. Like, the branding is also out of control.
Coming up next year is going to be Madden or something. Like
Madden.
We're gonna take the top Madden players, and they are going to be NFL head coaches.
They're going to mix Vince Papale with Madden.
Yes, that's gonna.
That's the next video game adaptation.
If they're coming with this, a year or two down the pike, it's gonna be Madden.
Why didn't
Madden
they just
the movie?
Why didn't they just do a racing movie? Somebody on Reddit said it's just Rocky on wheels. Like, just do that. Why have the weird video game involvement?
Yeah.
I don't know.
It was very
super,
bizarre.
It was super weird to me.
So if you have a chance, go check out the Gran Turismo trailer. It's very weird.
Maybe it's weird because of this next headline.
Yeah, this might be it.
So this is actually the serious topic in the entertainment entree. The Writers Guild of America is currently striking in Hollywood for a number of reasons. It's the first strike in 15 years. The last one was in 2007.
Yep.
98% of members voted in favor to strike. Per the Associated Press, the WGA is seeking a couple of different things. First, they're seeking higher minimum pay up front. This is a big sticking point because they say that traditional pay models don't make sense anymore. So traditional pay models were based on syndication, residuals, international licensing. Those things don't exist anymore with streaming. There's no syndication for Stranger Things.
No.
It's not going to go to basic network television. You're not going to tune in to watch Stranger Things on Wednesdays on ABC.
No, it would have to be like one of those old channels, like MeTV.
MeTV, right.
Right after Gunsmoke.
Right, Gunsmoke, then Stranger Things, coming up at 8 p.m.
Yeah.
So, higher minimum pay up front, I think absolutely essential for these writers. They also want more writers per show and shorter exclusive contracts. And their argument around these two things is just that seasons used to run 20-plus episodes, and this has been replaced by much shorter streaming seasons. So, writers they're using fewer writers, and the contracts are all out of control because of these weird, like, 8-episode, 10-episode seasons, when before, you'd be a writer for, an entire 24-episode season. That's stable work for, 24 episodes. And finally, they want some regulations over AI. I thought this was interesting. AI finishing the writer's work. I mean, that is a very real concern.
It's coming down the pike.
They give them the backbone. They're like, cool, we don't need you for rewrites. And you're like, what do you mean you don't need me for rewrites? And they go, we got Chat GPT.
Yep, sorry. By the way, have you heard of, I was just talking about this with my cousins the other day, Nothing Forever? So
no, what's that?
Like earlier this year, there was a AI prompt that tried to create its own version of Seinfeld.
Oh, God. Oh, wait. No, I did. They had to remove it because it got, like, weirdly offensive.
Yeah.
Right? Oh, man.
So, it may not be all the way there yet.
Right. It just starts churning out, like, homophobic, racist stuff, and they're like, whoa, let's bring the writers back.
Yeah. But I mean, that's the stepping stone.
Yeah, I mean, they're definitely making huge strides in AI, and they want to integrate it in everything. I really don't want to see, or do I? Because have you ever seen those funny, like, people like ask AI to write an episode of The Office, and it's always, it's funny, but not in like an actual, like, well thought out story funny.
Yeah, no, it's funny to see what they think humor is.
Right, or like how people talk.
Yeah.
But this whole writer strike thing, I know that they're a group in entertainment that don't really get a lot of like headlines or focus unless they're, like a writer director, like a Quentin Tarantino. Like the average writers of shows don't really get a lot of attention. It's because they're behind the scenes people, but it's really a shame because they're the ones that really at the beginning of the whole process are bringing these things to life.
Yeah.
Right. And good and bad writing is, sometimes it's weird because like you can tell immediately when something is like good or bad, and it's hard to like put your finger on exactly why. But you watch a show like Succession, and you watch like whatever stuff they got on like CBS right now, and you can see there's a huge difference in just the quality and the flow and the way that characters are represented, and people don't really think about how these things come to life. Like, yes, of course, it's the guy playing Logan Roy, right? Or it's like Bryan Cranston in Breaking Bad. But like, where did those iconic lines come from? Where did those amazing, layered characters? They all came from those writers. And without these guys doing that work, you're going to see shows suffer, I think.
Oh, yeah.
Obviously. And it just really sucks that like nobody thinks about the writers and this issue came
not until they go on strike.
Right. And that's why they got to do it. It was like a few months ago we were talking about HBO Max and pulling shows and cutting residuals of these behind the scenes guys. And these companies, just with the change to the streaming model, have completely gutted any kind of, power or say that these individuals have. And, really hamstringing them with the policies that they implement. It's really, really disappointing.
Yep.
I went to school for writing. I know how hard writing is, and it just freaking sucks that these guys get the short end of the stick with this stuff because it's a really tough job that they have to come up with these storylines for these, how do you write 10 episodes of Succession?
And have it be really good.
And have it be really good. Like anybody that says, and you see it all the time, like, oh, writing's not that hard. They either don't know what they're talking about or they haven't done it a day in their life.
Yeah.
So really actually ticks me off that the writers have to go on strike to get recognized like this, but it's an underrepresented and underrecognized part of the entertainment industry. And they fully deserve, everything that they want. So
well,
that's my little soapbox moment.
Well, you're gonna feel it if you are a fan of late night because all their shows had to be halted.
Yeah, they have plans to show reruns until the writers come back, or like they did in 2007, they'll come back and they'll just improvise.
Yeah,
which the union does not like.
No,
when they write their own material, because that's why they're unionized.
Yeah,
to protect against stuff like that. But we'll see how it goes. If it pushes into the summer, the fall
there needs to be another late night war fight.
Late night war fight, yeah.
Because the last time this happened, it was Conan versus Colbert versus Jon Stewart. So I don't know. They'd have to do some way to try and reinvent that.
You know what else? People may remember this. The last time the writers went on strike, it was while Lost was airing on ABC. And the first 3 seasons of that show were amazing. Great character dramas, a little bit of sci-fi mystery element. The writers went on strike, and they found an atomic bomb that time traveled the island. That's what writers going on strike gets you. It gets you time traveling atomic bombs.
All right.
So if you don't want time traveling atomic bombs in purgatory, you pay the writers.
Yes.
And you do it now.
And on that note, we'll end the entertainment entree there, and we'll go right into our final portion of the show, the non-fortune cookie odd news.
We've been talking about cool and its ramifications and how it applies to the hip scene. But maybe you could give us some examples now of the opposite of cool, uncool. Just exactly what is uncool?
My nipples look like milk duds.
Holy shnikes.
It's time for the non-fortune cookie odd news.
It's not of this world. I don't know exactly what it is or what it's doing, but this is not human intelligence, okay? It's not human intelligence we're facing.
How you doing? Me? I'm doing great.
Manda bastards. I don't make this stuff up.
I'll take a pound of nuts.
That's a lot of nuts. That'll be $4, baby. You want fries with that? I seen the celery dance across the baseball fields.
You had me at Meat Tornado.
No, go past this. Past this part. In fact, never play this again.
Okay. What does that mean?
And now it's time for the non-fortune cookie odd news.
So sit back, get everything you need to get from the kitchen. Be sure and empty the bladders, go to the bathroom, because you're in for a hell of a ride.
Odd news.
That's right, everyone. It's time for the non-fortune cookie odd news. Here in this segment, Rich researches the news, he reads the news, and I react to the news. He finds a weird and wacky story that keeps it hidden from me, which ensures that all of my reactions are my genuine gut reactions to hearing this story for the very first time. I don't know what's about to happen. You guys don't know what's about to happen. And even Rich doesn't know what's about to happen because these stories always take us down wacky and wild paths. And I'm ready to get started. Where are we heading to? And why is it always Florida?
Usually it's Florida. But this story is South Carolina.
Oh,
that's not. I just realized
that's not good.
That's not good. I just realized your parents are headed down there for a trip.
All right, this could get interesting.
Yeah, I might want to watch out down there, down south.
All right. So what happened in South Carolina?
Okay, so we're gonna be talking about this divorced couple, Alan Riggs and Jolyn Wolfrey. Jolyn Wolfrey. That's a name.
That sounds like a very southern name.
That's a name. Jolyn Wolfrey.
Okay.
Wolf. I mean, she has a wolf in the name.
Wolf.
Yes. So these two, I guess they're young. They were in love very young.
Okay, young love.
Yep.
All right.
But unfortunately, it didn't pan out after after.
Oh no.
Yeah, it didn't pan out.
Wait, how young were they? You say young love.
So the story starts that they're as of right now in the present, they're 24 years old.
Oh wow. Okay.
They have been divorced for 2 years.
Oh, okay. So they were married at least at 22.
Yeah, I would imagine
before then.
Before then, yes.
Right. Wow, that is young love.
Yeah. So here's the first odd part of this story. Even though they've been divorced for 2 years, the two still share a home.
That's awkward.
Yeah. I would have thought maybe you would do the moving out first and then divorce.
Maybe what they're doing is they're just doing like a Seinfeld friends with benefits kind of thing, you know?
I don't think. I don't think you're going to think that as we get deeper into the story. No.
Okay. Yeah, I will say though, I think being divorced and living in the same house, that's super awkward. Like, do they still sleep in the same bed? Do they like have meals together? Like,
yeah.
Like what do you do? Do you like partition the house? And you're like, that's your area, this is my area. You'd think that it would be there'd be some animosity.
Yeah, I would not recommend this.
No, that sounds like a bad idea.
Yeah. Move out of the house.
Yeah, right?
I think the moment you're even thinking about divorce, move out of the start thinking about moving out of the house. No, this is not healthy for anybody. I don't know why and for 2 years you couldn't find another place.
I mean they have a house, they got mortgage payments, maybe neither one of them wants to, take it on their own, or I don't know what their situation is. It sounds awkward to me.
Yeah. Oof. So, nevertheless, that's the start off the story. That's the first paragraph is just hitting you like
Boom.
This is the situation.
Right. It's a weird sitch.
Yeah. So running with that. Take it as you will. All right. So whatever. These two people, they were married. They're now divorced for 2 years, and they live together in this house. Well, according to an incident report, the two were home last Saturday night. And apparently, Jolyn Wolfrey decided to take a man home.
Uh-oh. Oh, that's super awkward.
Yeah.
Well, it was very erotic. Yes, indeed. It was erotic.
What, which bedroom do they use?
Yeah, right? How do you... Right, they have to have separate rooms. I hope so.
Either that or the guy, like, knocks. He's like, I'm tired. Can I come to bed? Like,
well,
oh, wow, that's weird.
Yes. Well, this may have been the straw that finally broke the camel's back.
Oh, that was the one.
Yeah, this finally did
Not
it.
being divorced and living in the same house for 2 years.
Yeah. Because when Jolyn and her romantic male guest went into the room, Riggs said that he began hearing, quote, banging, constant banging.
Okay.
Well, it was very erotic. Yes, indeed. It was erotic.
He said that it was so loud, he yelled at them to stop. Hey, I'm trying to watch Stranger Things down here.
Yeah. Trying to watch my shows.
Yeah, come on.
Keep it down over there.
Yep. But he said that multiple times they failed to respond to him.
I think they were busy.
Yeah. Yeah, I think that would do it. Well, what do you think? What do you think a proper response would be now? You know,
I mean,
the whole story's weird.
The whole story's weird. In like the rational, logical world, like one of them would move out, or he would like, you know, while they're in the act, like leave the house and then come back and then be like, hey, that wasn't cool. You should move out. That's the reasonable, rational response. But I think what he probably did is like attack them with a frozen pizza or something.
Well, no, he decided to, go into his pants and pull out a 9mm gun and burst through the room saying, I've had enough and I'm ruining the mood.
Gonna f***ing kill you, motherfucker, old style.
Wait, did he say, I'm ruining the mood?
Yes, that's in the police report.
Is this guy think he's a movie character? Like, is this his tagline? And I'm ruining the mood.
There was a bit of a nastiness last night, yes? Some very extreme nastiness, yes? Yes.
Ain't nobody got time for that.
I think he would have been better off saying ain't nobody got time for that. I think that would have been a better line.
Ain't nobody got time for that.
And I'm ruining the mood.
I'm ruining the mood. I've had enough of this.
That's so cringy.
Yep. And boy, he fired a couple rounds too.
Oh, wow. Well, that does ruin the mood.
Yeah, that officially, I think.
Getting shot at.
Yeah, boy, this poor guy. I don't know about the guy. Did he see that there was another guy in the house?
I mean, he might just be an innocent bystander.
I feel like this guy is. Like, maybe.
This girl's like, come on back to my place.
Right, come on back to my
place. He's like, okay, maybe he.
Come upstairs.
Right, maybe they get there. If they're in different rooms, the ex-husband might not have been
in the area.
The area or present. And then all of a sudden they go at it. The next thing you know, the door's kicked in. Here's this guy with a gun.
Bang, bang, bang.
And he's shooting off rounds going, I'm ruining the mood.
just a constant scream as he's letting off a couple rounds.
And this guy's like, man, I feel bad for the other guy, whoever the random dude is.
Yeah, that's who I feel bad for in this story. This poor guy, he thought he was going to have some fun. He thought, there's some banging going on.
He's like, this guy got his rounds off, but I didn't get mine off.
Yeah, what the hell?
What the heck?
By the way, too, the next line, Jolyn Wolfrey then ran downstairs. That's it. Bye, guy. She left the guy there. Bye.
See ya. Peace. Okay. So she just runs away.
You brought him there. Help
He's
him
your
out.
responsibility.
Yeah, come on, help him out.
Yeah. So she just takes off.
Yeah, bye.
Just splits.
You're on your own. That's it. Bye.
You're on your own. That sucks.
Yeah, that poor guy. He just thought he was going to have some fun.
He's the real victim here.
Yeah. You know, he is a victim, too, because they don't even have his name in the report.
Oh, man.
So the police knew protect his identity.
Yeah.
This poor guy.
Right.
So, yes.
She just runs away.
She just bolted right out of the house. Cops then arrived on the scene. That's when Riggs kept saying that he was very upset. He kept hearing the couple having sex multiple times as he heard banging on the wall. He then recounted the story about how he went to get his gun and busted down the door. He also, just an interesting final note in this police report, Riggs stayed in the house until police arrived because he wanted to get back to his video game.
I mean, look.
So I had it wrong. He wasn't catching up on Stranger Things. He was playing.
He was playing video games.
He was playing Hogwarts Legacy or something.
Hey, man, you got to have your priorities straight.
Yeah.
You can't interrupt a good gaming session.
Yeah, come on, man.
Come on.
trying to finish this
I'm trying to level up here.
I'm trying to get to 100% here.
That's right. I got 3 more collectibles to find.
Yeah.
He's got the strategy guide open.
Yeah, he's got a separate laptop with the map open.
Yeah, exactly. He's checking things off.
Police.
This port, these guys. Yeah. These guys in this story.
The police definitely don't feel sorry for Riggs. They confiscated his 9mm pistol.
Oh, shucks.
And he is in jail on a felony charge.
Yes, because he assaulted 2 people in the throes of love.
I mean, he didn't assault them. He just bursted into the room and fired a couple rounds.
That's what's the charge? We've had it before. It's what is it? Making terroristic threats,
something like that,
or what, menacing. There's first-degree menacing or something.
He's being held in lieu of a $100,000 bond. Oh, I think that's a little rough.
We've had stories where some guy does horrific things with stuffed animals in Walmarts, and $4. Buy me a cup of coffee at Starbucks, and you're good to go. $100,000 for what?
For letting off a couple rounds, yeah.
Man.
I feel like the Jolene Wolf.
She's an instigator.
This is her fault.
This is all her fault. She knew exactly what she was doing.
You've been here for 2 years. I'm getting your ass out of this house.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. And they made extra loud whoopee to chase off.
Okay, Wink Martindale. Yeah. Some whoopee.
To chase off Riggs.
Yeah.
He just wanted to play video. He wasn't bothering anybody.
Yeah, he just wanted to finish Hogwarts Legacy.
Wanted to 100% his game.
There you go. That's
all. And the other guy, he's like, look, man, I'm not. These people, they have a thing going on. He just wanted to get some for himself.
I bet you he didn't even see the guy walking. I don't know. I bet you
probably not.
Yeah, I bet you she just was like, come this way, and just
he was probably in another room playing his games.
Yeah.
And he's like, I'm gonna have a good time.
Yeah.
Then she starts banging on the wall or something, and stirring up a whole bunch of nonsense.
Yeah. And then before you know it, a gun is getting unloaded.
Right.
And not the right one.
Exactly.
So there you go.
Oh, man.
That's what I have for you this week in the non-fortune cookie odd news.
That's depressing stuff.
Yeah, but he tried to have his line. I'm going to ruin the mood.
I'm going to ruin the mood, and I'm ruining the mood.
Yeah. So much for that catchphrase.
He tried.
Yeah, he tried.
If you're going to go out, at least come up with a catchphrase.
Yeah. And then he went back to his video game, so, he lived his life.
Hey, priorities, man.
Yeah. But there you go. Odd news is over, and that means we got to start wrapping this episode up. This has been the Crispy Noodle Podcast. Thank you guys for watching and supporting our little show. If you like what you heard, make sure you go to our website, thecrispynoodle.com. Make sure you follow us on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. But most importantly, make sure you have a way to get the podcast sent to you every week, whether that is on Facebook Live, whether it's on YouTube, or whether it's on Spotify. Make sure you have a way to get the episodes every week On Spotify, you can not only get the video version of the podcast, but also you can listen to us in the background as an audio-only podcast. And with Android Auto and Apple CarPlay, you can take us on the go. So there are truly multiple ways that you can enjoy the Crispy Noodle podcast, whether it's at home or on the go.
That's right. So many ways to check out the Crispy Noodle podcast. But if you need to get in touch with us individually to share your sports entertainment or odd news stories, you can find us on Twitter. I'm at Mikey Costanzo, MikeyCostanzo.
And I am at Rich Liebig, RichLiebig. Find us on Twitter. Let us know what's happening. Let us know if there's a topic you want us to talk about on next week's episode. Let us know if there's an odd news story you want us to talk about. If so, that goes to me so that Mikey doesn't get it and his reactions are clean.
I have to maintain my virgin eyes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So that's how you can interact with us every week on the Crispy Noodle podcast. And we do take all suggestions under consideration. So if we do, we'll give you a coveted sausage shout out here on the Crispy Noodle podcast.
Yeah.
So you never know. Ooh, yeah.
Oh.
Yeah, there you go.
That's all I got.
I bet you that's what that man thought walking up the stairs. He was going to get
like,
a sausage.
He's getting a sausage shout out.
Yeah.
It wasn't meant to be.
No, it wasn't. But for right now, we got to wrap it up. This has been the Crispy Noodle podcast. Let us be the Crispy Noodle in your vegetarian salad of life and boring news. That will do it. We'll see you guys next week.
See you guys.
Later. Bye-bye, all you fine peoples. Good night.
Some of us have great stories, pretty stories that take place at lakes with boats and friends and noodle salad. A lot of people, that's their story. Good times, noodle salad.